Uh, you'll notice these readings are out of order. The next reading is from your Oscar Kuhlman text, and I have purposely jumped to chapter 3. Next week, I'm going to be doing a lecture on German Christology and so on. But I sort of am dumping you into the deep end of the pool here. Maybe a couple words about Oscar Kuhlman would be helpful. He's from the mid 20th century, and he is in a fight with a number of contemporaries, most notable Rudolf Bultmann, who pretty much um, deconstructs the Jesus of history and takes a scissors to the text and excises pretty much all the miracles and so on. Kuhlman represents a significant movement in the 1950s. In fact, he is credited on a certain level with being a part of this whole pendulum swing that moves away from Boltmann's sort of trashing of the text to taking it seriously. Now, he asks questions that are in kind like Boltmann asks, which is, what would the real Jesus really have been like? And not the Jesus of doctrine, not the Jesus of church history, not the Jesus of the creeds, but what would a Jewish person in the first century have expected? What would they have understood in terms of the various titles and the roles that he applied to himself and others applied to him? In this particular chapter, what's significant is that Jesus, one significant role, not just in the Gospels, but Paul picks up on this, and again, we'll address this further on. This is, I don't expect you to understand everything you're reading in the text. This is, I think I put in one of the captions, jumping into the deep end of the pool. So it gives you sort of a baptism of Kuhlman, perhaps before we have really adequately introduced him. But this particular chapter is talking about Jesus as prophesied in Isaiah's servant Psalms. We know most notably Isaiah 53 actually starts in Isaiah 52. The servant Psalm, he was wounded for our transgression, he was bruised for our iniquities, and chastisement of peace was upon him, with stripes we were healed. That's a very notable, we sing it in songs. So that's a servant Psalm. He is called Eved, in the Hebrews Eved, and Eved Yahweh, it's in construct, so it's the servant of the Lord. And this servant of the Lord is one who is totally obedient to Yahweh, it's prophesied, and who somehow gives an atonement. He's actually crushed, bruised. Read Isaiah 53. It's incredible. Just read it in a number of translations. There's the atonement there, right there, Isaiah 53. But there are other servant psalms, and so anyhow, the point that Kuhlman wants to make is pretty interesting. He wants to, at least the thing that I'm focusing on in this lecture. We'll come back to this particular chapter later. We'll revisit it. Though I want to link it to this video, and you may just concentrate on the part where Jesus' baptism is taking place. Because for Kuhlman and for us, I would suggest that the purpose of Jesus' baptism is to launch his ministry, to answer the calling that God made on his life, and to begin the ministry which would lead to his death. Behold the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. I mean, he's introduced right here at his baptism. He understood baptism as a willful submission to the purpose and plan of God. And so the voice is two things. It's conflation of Psalm 2 and Isaiah 42 in the Septuagint. You are my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased. Well, beloved Son, Psalm 2, that's a regal coronation psalm. It was thought by some to be messianic. There it goes. That's pretty good stuff. You're going to be set up as a king, but then the servant psalms collectively, if you say one thing about one servant psalm in Jewish interpretation, if you look at the rules of Hallel, you pull in all of the various servant psalms together, and you're looking at a invitation to suffering. So it's an amazing thing that this voice of Jesus would be uh, that which is calling Jesus to do things, to a ministry of suffering, and then to the promise of glory. Now, uh, Hebrews 12 says, um, not only that Jesus is on the right hand of God, it, it says concerning his perception of that, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame. Uh, he was naked on the cross, and he knew he would come to an ignominious death, left alone, uh, forsaken by friends, and betrayed. So that Jesus is a man, and he has to believe that counts for something. And so, um, while Kuhlman will take texts that suggest Jesus' divinity, this is a chapter um, where in the Gospels, that claim of the man Jesus Christ to be the Eved Yahweh is taken seriously, and it's taken significantly. I will do more with this particular text a little bit later, this particular chapter, and I'll do more with Kuhlman later. But I thought it'd be nice just to dump you into a related chapter of the um, previous lecture that had to do with Christ's mission. Um, while this may seem a little bit hopscotch, hopefully there will be some relationship between the two readings.